He's stepping up to the plate to save the Golden State. On September 14th, California will hold a special election to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. Among the 24 GOP candidates campaigning to replace him is my next guest. He's a New York Times bestselling author and host of the nationally syndicated radio program, The Larry Elder Show. Joining me now, somebody named Larry Elder. How you doing?
Greg, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
All right, my first question is, are you crazy? I mean, California, is California salvageable? Is it salvageable?
I really think it is. The legislatures are dominated by supermajorities in the Senate and the Assembly, but the governor has a lot of power, even dealing with the hostile legislature, including the power to declare a statewide emergency. I have a line item veto. I have the ability to appoint the commissioners and people to the Public Utility Commission. I also have that big thing known as the bully pulpit. So there are a lot of things that I can do. It's not hopeless. We're talking about crime. We're talking about rising cost of living. We're talking about the outrageous homelessness and the way this man has ignored science while his own kids were enjoying in-person private education while shutting down schools for kids already behind. We have among the lowest scores in California, and 75% of black boys before the coronavirus pandemic, Greg, could not read at state levels of proficiency, and that was before the pandemic. Almost half of all third graders cannot. I support choice in public education. Teachers Union adamantly opposed to that, and guess who's the largest funder of my opponent? The Teachers Union.
Of course, yeah. And if you the sad thing about education, I mean, if you tackled education, all the other problems get solved, right? I mean, basically, you
absolutely,
crime, all that stuff is somehow linked to those first years of life, where we have handed over that period of life to an elite class of activists and unionists, essentially. Right?
Well, that's right. My high school is Crenshaw High School. If you saw the movie Boys in the Hood, that's my high school. Only 2% of kids are math proficient. Now, the inner city parents, polls show black and brown parents want the ability to say, I want to put my kid into a charter school, a private school, or a religious school. And again, the teachers union are adamantly opposed to that. And when you look at where teachers pull their own school-age kids, Greg, they're far more likely to have their own kids in private school than households that don't have public school teachers. The people that know the school system the best aren't putting their own kids in them.
You know, I want to talk to you about the homeless situation because it's the most obvious thing that you see whenever you land in L.A. or San Francisco. Right. This is not the way people envision homelessness as like, oh, this family was thrown out of their house or it was a homeless veteran. These are people that come with tents and they just live on the street. A lot of them are healthy. A lot of them are mentally ill, but they refuse to leave. Right. And they have people on their side. They have an elite activist class that is there protecting them. How do you get it? What would you do?
Well, that's right. What the governor does and what the lawmakers do in Sacramento is have what I call a housing first policy, and that is to build homes at far more expensively than the private sector would do without dealing with the underlying reason why people are on the streets. Majority of them are mentally ill and have substance abuse problems. Those need to be dealt with. There's all sorts of treatment centers. We have all sorts of money for that. And then you need to have low-cost housing, so to the extent that you can get some of them off the street, where are they going to go? The average price of a home in California is 150% more than the average price of a home in America. And because of the rules and regulations and the environmental extremists, the average price of a home in California is literally 50% more than it otherwise would be. So, in other words, you need to suspend some of the rules and regulations that are causing the private sector not to build low-cost housing. We need to get the churches involved, religious organizations involved, in counseling people and getting them to become self-sufficient. And then this problem over time can be solved.
How do you feel about running against Caitlyn Jenner? We know how you differ in some ways, but politically.
Well, Greg, I'm going to take a punt on that one because this is a two-step deal.
Right.
Unless 50% plus one Californians vote to recall Gavin Newsom, it doesn't matter how well the Republicans do. I'm way ahead of the other Republicans. I've raised way more money than all but one of them who can self-fund. So I'm not worried about the Republican side. I just want people to remember why 2.2 million people signed that petition. A good quarter of them are independents and Democrats who want this guy out for all the reasons that I just now mentioned.
What do you think his chances are of being recalled? Because I just saw a poll now that looks like it could happen, but then everybody I know, there was this is just he's safe. What do you think?
I think he's in serious trouble, and he knows it. The polls are right in the margin of error. About half of them want him gone, about half of them don't, and 53%, even if they don't want him gone, don't want him to have another 4-year term. So he is in trouble no matter what. And I know that he's worried about me. That's why I'm urging people, Greg, to go to electelder.com. Throw a little something in the tip jar, because he can raise and spend an unlimited amount of money. One teachers union just gave him $1.8 million, and shortly after it was obvious I was going to run, the Service Employees Union gave him $5 million.
Wow.
It looks like he's going to spend anywhere from $50 to $75 million to defeat me. So I need people inside California and outside California to help me by going to electelder.com.